What's going on? How is everybody? Long time no see, I know, right? Life's been busy, crazy, hectic, work, new kid on the way, whatnots. But I'm here right now, ready to go. We're going to get this Metal Tag 21 going. Got my coffee here, thanks to Iron Bean. Shout out to Fred Chanel over there. Good stuff. So, the first question on this metal tag list for 2021, what music was spoiled by vocals? And I'm going to have to go with general. Kind of got some bullshit answers for some of these, I'll be honest with you. But over general death metal, I don't care for a lot of the vocals in death metal, but I overlook it because I'm a big fan of music, technicality, craftsmanship, and a lot of that stuff is apparent in a lot of death metal, but the vocals are lacking for me. An album that you love that was let down by bad production, I'm gonna have to go with Necrotic's pick on this too. Suffocation, Breeding the Spawn. I like that album, but it's just not as tight as I think it probably should be. Next up, a band that suffers from a weak member. Now I'm gonna have to go with everybody else by default on this, which of course Lars. Man, come on, Lars. But an honorable mention here would be probably to, I mean, it's not a weak member, but Atticus Ross. When he came in at first, I thought that Nails kind of took a turn there a little bit, but they've just won their umpteenth award for stuff, so they're doing okay. Show an album that defines heavy. Now, I don't have this album, but Crowbar, Sonic Excess in its purest form. That album, when I first heard it, was just crushing to me, and it was just, I instantly hooked. I loved it from the first time I had it. I mean, Lasting Dose, of course. To Build a Mountain is just insanely good riffing there. Counting Days, I mean, man, that shit is just brutal. I love that album. An album recommendation from the community would have to be Skeleton Pit. Lust of Lynch. I would have never heard of these guys if it wasn't for the community, and you guys are great for that. And I'm a big fan of those guys, and I won't dive in too much because you will see more Skeleton Pit coming up. So hit the subscribe button and notifications if you want to find out exactly what we got in the works. Next up, show an album that takes your music into a different direction, and this one have to be Stevie Wonder, Original Musicarium. I'm a big fan of Stevie Wonder, and in particular this album is crazy good, just insanely good music. And if you're a fan of music in general and you don't like this stuff, I don't know, man. Superstition is that opening guitar is just so funky. Everything is just great about it. And of course, Higher Ground, which was redid by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, made it popular again. But I love Stevie's version of that. That album is killer. Great stuff. Next up, this one, a gem from your collection, and obvious pick here is Tool Anima. Just happened to be at Grimey's Records down in Nashville, and ended up picking it up for a good price, and I never thought I would have found it, to be honest with you. I wrote it off of my collection. An album in your collection that you would sell first. Again, no-brainer. This is Zastor. I mean, this could almost go for production quality too, because there's good stuff hidden in there, but that cavernous black metal thing, I don't know. It just makes it unlistenable, and I don't know why I would do that. It's like how I described it is you hear this like kind of kick-ass band in this club, but you're outside of the club in the back door, and you're hearing the music through the walls and everything, and then there's just this white noise, this throughout the whole fucking thing. And I just can't do it. I tried to jack it up so I could hear the music behind it, and it's just not for me. Unfortunately, if I could get my hands on those and remix it, it would be pretty cool. Subgenre of metal that you would get rid of or delete. Right, slam or any of that crazy black metal stuff. Church burning crap. Anything hate or racism, you know, all that shit. So anything like that, slam metal, and more just the super detailed subgenres of everything, I would probably like get rid of, because it's getting ridiculous. Especially now you have a blackened variant version of every other subgenre, and it just gets confusing to the point where, you know, for me, something would be labeled really stupid, crazy, and it doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm like, you know, don't even look at the band, you know. And then months later, years later, whatever, someone like, hey, you might check this band out, you might like them, and I turn out liking them. And I didn't listen to them because they had some stupid tag on it, you know. It's metal. You like music, just check the band out, you know. So the next two, what band or artist would you like to see an album or reissue from, and what 80s metal act would you see? That kind of go both. SOD, Stormtroopers of Death. Now, I know they reissued it a few years back for their anniversary, but it would be sweet to get a new album. I mean, especially because you can write off the coattails of Mr. Bungle a little bit and, you know, put out a new SOD album. That would be sweet. Scott, please. So show an alternative version of an album. Now, this isn't like an overly alternate version in the vinyl community, because the real alternate would probably be the original album cover, which was on the CD, but it was just the first pressing of this. But this is something that some people don't see, Pantera fans. You know, the first CD release of this and vinyl release had the skull, but this is a cool cover too. A band for me that defines metal, this will have to be the original cast, Sesame Street. This is just crazy good stuff. The theme song rips. I mean, you're in a place where you got a guy living in trash, you know, there's a bunch of people in the neighborhood, Gordon will rub your tummy, and I mean, being green, the list goes on. Rubber Ducky, come on, metal is. Next one is the most metal album cover you have. Fortunately, it's in this box. It's the Reinventing the Steel 20th Anniversary Terry Date Mix. It's got a diamond plate on the cover of it, and it's metal. That's about as metal as it gets, I think. Unless you're like Nick and you have an actual metal case. And another Pantera, unfortunately, album you first... Now, this is a weird story, too. First disregarded, but then loved, because it went from the uber extremes. Now, the story behind this one, this album first came out in 96. I wasn't into metal much at all, but I went through the library, was sifting through, you know, CDs, and I saw the cover of this. I was like, oh, wow, cool. You know, it's a cool cover. I'm going to check this out. So I went home, popped the CD in, and that first just 5 seconds of it just, I just immediately turned it off for whatever reason, and took it back. And, you know, a few years later, short years later, I got turned on, and it just changed my world. And it was funny, with the day I went and bought this, I kind of laughed about it a little bit. If I would have listened to that damn first song for more than 5 seconds and just heard that first riff of Great Southern Trendkill, the main verse riff, I would have been hooked immediately. I know I would have, and I would have changed me years previous to when it did. But nonetheless, a good, interesting story behind that one. Next up, a metal band that I think deserves more recognition, and I mean, there's a lot of bands that are good that aren't as popular as I would hope they would be, and that's just because of the way music overall is right now. But with the internet and everything distributing that way, there are bands that can thrive in these little communities like ours, where they can get their recognition, albeit a smaller group. But for someone that I think could branch out more than just a little community, I'm a big fan of Scissor Fight. Scissor Fight is awesome, and they should be right up there with some of the other guys in that genre of stuff, but you don't hear about them much at all. And the last one, what is my holy grail for 2021? And that would be like everybody else. Just let me go to a goddamn show. Please bring them back. We'll get them this fall. So, If you like the video and want to see what we got cooking later, I got some vinyl stuff coming on the way. The vinyl subscription thing, part 2, and then part 3. We got the reinventing that I'm going to do here. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications if you want to be notified about everything. Let me know, give me a comment on what you think. Check out our website, thrallsofmetal.com. Hit us up on Facebook and all the social medias. John's got those things locked down for us. And I will see you in the next video.